מי שחלם לו ונשאר לו החלום, מי שלחם הוא לא ישכח על מלאכם, מי שנשאר אל כל הלילה עוד יראה אור יום, מי שהלך הוא לא ישוב עוד לעולם, מי שהבטיח וזכה גם לקיים, מי שהצליח לחזור מן הדרכים, מי שכאב אבל הבין שהכאב אילם, הוא לא יניח שנשכח את ההולכים. שוב לא יראה זאת לעולם, והרים עוד יבערו באש צריחות, ובין הבאים תנשב עוד רוח ים, 1000 פרחים עוד יפרחו בין ובתוך שלוחות, הם שיעידו כי זכרנו את כולם.
יושבת בוהה באפלה, שעה חולפת יום ושנה, ואת עדיין לא מחכה. שעה חולפת יום ושנה, עוד איך עובדת שבויה באמונה. את פרי גנך אל תבקשי, מי לך יאמר, מי לך ישיב, מרכבך עודפים הימים, נותרת לבדך, רוצה שהנה קרבה אותה שעה שבה הבטיח לשוב בחזרה. בדומיה עוטפת התוגה, ובליבך נותרה משאלה. שעה חולפת יום ושנה, ואת עדיין לא מחכה. שעה חולפת יום ושנה, עוד איך זוכרת ולא מאמינה. את פרי גנך את תבקשי, מי לך נותרת לבדך, רוצה להאמין שהנה קרבה אותה השעה שבה הבטיח לשוב בחזרה. נותרת לבדך, רוצה להאמין שהנה קרבה אותה השעה שבה הבטיח לשוב בחזרה. שהנה קרבה אותה השעה שבה הבטיח לשוב ולא שם.
שאמות משהו ממני, משהו ממני ימות בך, ימות בך כשתמות. משהו ממך בי, משהו ממך בי ימות איתך, ימות איתך. כי כולנו, כן כולנו, כולנו רקמה אנושית אחת חיה. ואם אחד מאיתנו הולך מעמנו, משהו מת בנו, משהו נשאר איתו. אם נדע איך להרגיע, איך להרגיע את האיבה, אם רק נדע, אם נדע להשקיט את זעמנו על אף עלבוננו, לומר סליחה, להתחיל מההתחלה. כי כולנו, כן כולנו, כולנו רקמה אנושית אחת חיה. ואם אחד מאיתנו הולך מעמנו, משהו מת בנו, משהו נשאר איתו. כי כולנו, כן כולנו, כולנו רקמה אנושית אחת חיה. ואם אחד מאיתנו הולך מעמנו, משהו מת בנו, משהו נשאר איתו. מסתובב בעיר הישנה ורעש בא מכל פינה. אני מכיר כבר את דרכי, הדרך אל שער הרחמים. לא מביט סביב, לא מקשיב, איש חולם אני, וכך היה תמיד. אבל מכיר כבר את דרכי, הדרך אל שער הרחמים. חי פעם, רק פעם, יש טעם, אין טעם, עם כוח, בלי כוח, שער הרחמים. בואי איתי יחד, בואי מתוך הפחד, כי את גם את חלק משער הרחמים. השלטים מעל החנויות משקיפים על הרחובות, בתוך ליבי יש צעקה והיא גדולה. הראו לי את שער הרחמים. חי פעם, רק פעם, יש טעם, אין טעם, עם כוח, בלי כוח, שער הרחמים. בואי איתי יחד, בואי מתוך הפחד, כי את גם את חלק משער הרחמים. בואי איתי יחד, בואי מתוך הפחד, כי את גם את חלק משער הרחמים.
Ladies and gentlemen, would like to start in a few minutes.
בליבי יש סתיו, אני עכשיו מחכה לשווא, אולי ביתי נופל שוב בערפל, אפור ואפל, ובעיניי אלוהים גדול, הוא צריך למחול, עם ליבי כולו עפר, חיי קלים.
Dear families, ladies and gentlemen, we gather here this evening in Temple Emanu-El on Yom Hazikaron, Israel's Memorial Day for fallen soldiers and victims of terror, to commemorate the lives and mourn the loss of those who have tragically fallen defending Israel and as victims of terror in Israel and in other Jewish communities. This is the time when we all stand together in memory of the fallen. Thank you all for coming here tonight on this sacred day to honor their memory. I invite Ravit Bendler and Mikhail Ben Zaken to light the memorial torch. Bendler's father fell in a battle in 1973. Ben Zaken survived a terror attack in Israel. Please stand with us for a moment of silence. Please be seated. I invite Rabbi Joshua Davidson for opening remarks and his call.
Good evening. I'm Rabbi Joshua Davidson, and I'm honored to welcome you back to Temple Emanu-El. My profound gratitude to our acting Consul General, an anchor of constancy in every moment of transition, Israel Nitzan, and his staff for the privilege of once again hosting this commemoration. Our congregation has been home to many moving assemblies, but year in and year out, none more poignant than this. Yehuda Halevi wrote, Libi v'mizrach v'anochi besof ma'arav. My heart is in the east, yet I am in the uttermost west. While I am not Israeli, I understand what it means for Israelis to be away from home this night, especially this year. All our hearts are there, b'mizrach. So this night, I hope you will consider Temple Emanu-El your home, as we remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice for the security of the State of Israel and those who lost their lives at the hands of terrorists. Yesh kochavim she'oram magia arza, rak asher hem atzmam avdu ve'enam. The words of the Zionist poet, pioneer, and soldier Hannah Senesh. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with the people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. May their memories be for a blessing. If you're able, would you please rise? Yizkor Elohim et nishmot banav giborav chayalei tzva hagana leYisrael shenaflu b'milchamot Yisrael bifulot hagana tagmul v'bitachon ובעת מילוי תפקידם. ונשמות כל לוחמי המחתרת וחטיבות הלוחמים במערכות העם, שחרפו נפשם למות על קדושת השם, ובעזרת אלוהי מערכות ישראל הביאו לתקומת האומה והמדינה, לגאולת הארץ ועיר האלוהים. מנשרים קלו ומאריות גברו, בהיחלצם לעזרת העם והרבו בדמם הטהור את רגבי אדמת קודשנו. זכר עקדתם ומעשה גבורתם לא יסופו מאיתנו לעולמים. תהיינה נשמותיהם צרורות בצרור החיים עם נשמות אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, ועם שאר גיבורי ישראל וקדושיו שבגן עדן עד עולם. ונאמר, Amen. Please be seated.
Kaddish by Moshe Jose, Deputy Director for Operations Administration from the Ministry of Defense, followed by Nathaniel Hershtik, cantor of the Hampton Synagogue, with El Maleh Rachamim.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה. בעלמא דברה חרותה, והמליך מלכותה, ויצמח פורקנה, ויקרב משיחה. בחייכון ובממכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. אמן יהיה שמי רבה מברך, לעולם עולמי עולמיה יתברך, וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מכל ברכתה, שירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. על ישראל ועל רבנן ועל תלמידיהון ועל כל תלמידי תלמידיהון, דעסקין באורייתא קדישתא, די באתרא הדין ודי בכל אתר ואתר, יהיה לנה ולהון ולכון, חינה וחסדה ורחמה, מן קדם מראה שמיה והרע ואמרו אמן. יהיה שלמה רבה מן שמיה, חיים ושבע, וישועה ונחמה ושזבה ופועה וגאולה וסליחה וכפרה, ורווח והצלה, לנו ולכל עמו ישראל ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום ומאב וברחמיו יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ואמרו אמן.
Please remain standing.
רחמים שוכן במרומים המצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה במעלות קדושים טהורים וגיבורים כזוהר הרקיע מאירים ומזהירים לנשמות חיילי צבא הגנה לישראל ולוחמי המחתרות שנפלו במלחמות ישראל ומסרו נפשם על קדושת השם. שכולנו מתפללים להילוי נשמותיהם. לכן בעל הרחמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמותיהם. לכן בעל הרחמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו ובסתר כנפיו לעולמים ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמותיהם. בגן עדן תהא מנוחתם, אדוני הוא נחלתם. וינוחו בשלום על משכבם.
Joining us on stage now, Achinoam Nini and David Broza. They will sing a song by Yonatan Geffen, Zichrono Livracha. It's called Anasich HaKatan Mipluga Bet, The Little Prince. And David was a good friend of Geffen. We lost Yonatan Geffen in Israel. He passed away last week. And David told us backstage that Yonatan lost his life 3 times in the past, twice in the war while he was a fighter, and 3rd time last week when he passed away.
יפה שקיעת שמש ללב עצוב, ציירתי לו עץ וכבשה על נייר, והוא הבטיח לי שישוב. הנסיך הקטן מפלוגה בן לא יראה עוד כבשה שאוכלת פרח, בכל שושנה הן קוצים כעת, וליבו הקטן קפא כקרח.
ואם אי פעם תגיעו לכאן, תדעו שכאן הוא חרש צנח, וכל הנפילה מעולם לא נשמע, בגלל החול הרך. והיה אם יופיע שם ילד אחד, שפניו שוחקות ושיער מוזרה, תדעו שזהו, והושיטו לו יד, ולטפו את אבק המדבר מעיניו. ואז תעשו עמי חסד קטן, שתפו נא מהר לכל אמותינו, שירווח להם קצת ויפוץ הרע. הנסיך הקטן חזר השנה הם קוצים כעת, וליבו הקטן קפא כקרח. פגשתי אותו בלב המדבר.
A song by the great Geffen. I now invite Acting Consul General of Israel in New York, Israel Nitzan.
Dear bereaved family members, community leaders, and friends, before I begin my remarks, I would like to reiterate how important it is that we come together for this solemn occasion. It is a time that we put politics aside and stand united as we remember those who paid the ultimate price. These lives lost, whether in preserving the security of the State of Israel or because of terror attacks, are ever so valuable for all of us. I want to acknowledge the presence here of Asaf Zamir, the former Consul General of Israel, who is here with us today. I also would like to acknowledge the presence of Congressman Mike Lawler from Rockland County in Westchester, as well as the Manhattan Borough President, Mark Levine. I think that we truly appreciate your friendship and support for the State of Israel. Your decision to join us today is a testimony to the deep bonds and the values we all share. I also want to thank our partners at Temple Emanu-El. Thank you very much, Rabbi Davidson. Also the Israeli Defense Mission here in New York for all their efforts and partnership, of course, in organizing this event. And the clergy, the artists, and everybody who actually volunteered to be with us today. And I also want to thank all of you. We have hundreds of people here for joining us in this meaningful event. We gather here today to remember. As a people, we remember collectively. We remember the past, carrying it with us to the present and to the future. Our past is a part of us, part of our rituals, part of our prayers. It is part of our collective identity. In Israel, the time between Yom HaShoah, that we marked last week, the Holocaust Remembrance Day, and Yom Hazikaron, Memorial Day, is a sacred period of remembrance. Yom HaShoah reminds us of one of the greatest tragedies the Jewish people endured, a period in which we were defenseless during the darkest of times. And out of this darkness was the need and creation of our Jewish homeland, the state of Israel. It is not easy, but we persevered. Yom HaZikaron, Israel's Memorial Day, is a day of collective mourning, as we remember those who gave their lives so we may live in Israel, and so Israel may continue to flourish. This year, Israel has witnessed more losses. According to figure released by the Ministry of Defense on Friday, 59 names were added to the list of those lost during their military service and defending the state of Israel since Israel's last Memorial Day. These numbers brought the total to 24,213 of those who have died during service to the country since 1860. Additionally, 31 names were added to the list of terror victims who perished in attacks in the last year, bringing the total to 4,255 lives lost due to terror attacks, according to Israel's National Insurance Institute. And sadly, these terror attacks continue today, as we saw only today in the heart of Jerusalem, when a terrorist drove a car into a crowd, injuring 5 people. Dearest families, I cannot imagine your pain and cannot find words to express my feelings. I can only say, also looking here, with hundreds of people joining us, that you are not alone, and all of us here sharing in your grief and hoping you can feel our support. The memory of those we are here to remember, in memory of those who are here to remember, let us recommit ourselves to unity, to solidarity, especially these days, Ahavat Israel and Klal Israel, remembering our past, even the difficult times and the bitter losses, can only make us stronger in the future. There must be a shared future for all of us, a shared hope, as we call it, Hatikva, to be a free people in our land, the land of Zion and Jerusalem. Thank you again for joining us today.
Good evening. I like to say when I'm out of words, that whenever I'm out of words, there is music. And right now I am completely out of words. And so I'm just so grateful being able to express the pain that I have in my heart and my feelings with music. The next song, one of my songs, I'm going to conclude with one more of my songs that I titled Remember, Isko.
Thank you, Miri Ben-Ari. 24,213 Israeli soldiers have fallen in wars defending their homeland. 4,255 Israelis have been murdered in terror attacks. Ronit Abramovich lost her brother on Yom Kippur War. She's invited to the stage now with her daughter, Sarit Abramovich.
Good evening, Erev Tov. As she said, my name is Sarit Abramovich, and I'm very honored to be here tonight to celebrate and honor the memory of all those that have fallen on behalf of our beloved Israel. My mother was asked to give remarks about her brother, and I am here today to give the English translation of her remarks. My brother Mikhail, who we called Mickey, was a very active, spirited, and independent-minded individual. He had an entrepreneurial spirit and was always full of ideas. Most of all, he was a beloved member of our family, and though he died way too soon, he left a strong imprint on all of those who knew him. I am honored to bring his memory to life today and share with you a glimpse of who he was. I lost the title of baby of the family when my brother Miki came into the world on August 28, 1954, in Tel Aviv. He was the fourth child and only boy for our parents, Zalman and Bracha, who doted over him endlessly. He and I were particularly close as the two youngest siblings, and though I was 3 years his senior, he always looked after me. From a young age, he was always fascinated by understanding how things work. He had an engineering brain with a penchant for topography and spent all his free time studying and measuring the roadways in our neighborhood. In high school, he even managed to secure a role supervising a group of land surveyors. Always full of energy, Miki had a long list of hobbies. Parades were popular in our neighborhood, and he was always a big part of the procession, all the way on stage. He was an avid basketball player, and his tall and muscular build led him to be one of the star players on the team. One of his favorite athletic events was the annual running of Mount Tavol. Above everything, he was a devoted animal lover. He adored his Great Danes, who never left his side. It was definitely made clear they were not the family dogs. Their loyalty was exclusively with Miki. His military career started in high school, where he joined the ROTC and began pursuing his dream of becoming a pilot in the Israeli Air Force. He had always been obsessed with airplanes and spent countless hours building and taking apart models, studying every single detail. There was no question that this was the path he would take, but sadly, despite all his hard work and dedication, color blindness prevented his eligibility to join the Air Force, and he had to choose a different path. He officially enlisted in the Israeli Armed Forces in February of 1973 and became a part of the tanks unit of the Armed Corps, often a source of confusion for his commanders, who couldn't seem to grasp that his surname was the same as his unit name, which was Shirion. Even though his path diverged, Miki took great pride in his military career and worked very hard, aspiring to advance to the highest ranks. He was a dedicated soldier, loyal to commanders and peers alike, and this made him really loved by his troop. In 1973, when the Yom Kippur War broke out, Miki and his unit were in the midst of training in Sinai, next to what is known as Ma'oz Nozel. On October 6th of that year, his troop was sent to repulse an Egyptian unit that crossed the Suez Canal. In a hard-fought battle, his tank was hit by a missile, and he and all the members of his crew perished in the desert. On this fateful day, he left behind his mom, dad, 3 sisters, many relatives, and a very heartbroken dog. He was buried in the beautiful Har Herzl military cemetery that overlooks the hills of Jerusalem. After his death, he was posthumously elevated to the rank of corporal. In a condolence note to our parents, his commander noted that Miki's tank unit successfully destroyed many enemy armored vehicles, and they each demonstrated valor and bravery until the last moment. After losing their only son, my parents wanted his memory to live on, so they decided to establish a scholarship fund in his honor at the elite Technion in Haifa. In 1980, the first scholarship was awarded, and to date, a new scholarship is awarded annually to provide promising students with economic hardship the opportunity to pursue an engineering degree and live out Miki's legacy. My brother has been gone now for half a century, yet his smiling face is still implanted in my mind. I see his eyes in my own son and grandsons, and his active spirit and athleticism in my granddaughters. His nephew, which is his namesake, also shares his uncle's love of airplanes and even pursued a career in the airline industry. I am so grateful for this opportunity to honor his memory today as we celebrate all those who have fallen on our behalf. Thank you for letting me share my brother with you today, and may the memory of all the fallen soldiers and those who perished for Israel live on. Thank you very much.
עבר לתמיד אולי מעגל שנסגר ונשארת חי ניפגש נתראה לב אוהב אינו טועה כמו אל ים נזרום נזרום נבקש עד שנגיע וניגע אל החלום זה נגמר זה עבר לתמיד אולי מעגל שנסגר ונשארת חי ניפגש נתראה לב אוהב אינו טועה כמו אל ים נזרום נזרום נבקש עד שנגיע וניגע אל החלום ניפגש נתראה לב אוהב אינו טועה כמו אל ים נזרום נזרום נבקש עד שנגיע וניגע אל החלום
Elon Ganelis, a 27-years-old college graduate, was murdered in a terror attack 2 months ago while visiting Israel. He was on the road next to Yam HaMelach, the Dead Sea, when he was shot. His close friend, Akiva Rockland, is here with us tonight.
At around 8 p.m. on February 27th, I stood under my older sister's chuppah and watched her get married. It was a beautiful evening in Jerusalem. But the celebration quickly turned to a nightmare when we shortly thereafter learned that one of the wedding guests was horrifically murdered by terrorists on his way to the wedding. That guest was Elon Ganelis, and he was on schedule to arrive 30 minutes early to the wedding because he wanted to spend time with my family and me, and also because he really liked hors d'oeuvres. Elon was my best friend. He spent his last morning hiking in the north of Israel. He dreamt of living up there one day. After high school, Elon was accepted to a top university in America, but he chose to spend a gap year studying in Jerusalem. During his gap year, he developed a deep connection to the land of Israel and decided to make Aliyah. He wanted to serve in army intelligence, but knew that he needed to improve his Hebrew. So he joined an Ulpan program at Kibbutz Sde Eliyahu. There, he learned Hebrew, made many friends, worked the fields, and milked cows, his favorite kibbutz job. He quickly became fluent in Hebrew, but due to some medical problem, he was deemed ineligible for military service. But Elon was determined, and he climbed through mountains of Israeli bureaucracy to adjust his medical profile and enlist in the army. He succeeded and ended up joining Mofet, the Army's Treasury Department, as a computer programmer. This wasn't his first choice for a military job. It wasn't even his second, and he had no idea how to code in Hebrew. But Elon always made the best of whatever situation he was in. He learned how to code, and in a short time was a top performer. He didn't complain. Not once. Elon was brilliant. He memorized all the U.S. presidents and their bios before the first grade. He could identify every bird, sometimes just from their sound. If he encountered something new, he'd look it up. And for all the information he consumed, he knew exactly which of his friends would be interested in it, and he'd share it with them. He lifted us all up and made us better learners. His curiosity was contagious. He was deeply curious about the people and the world around him. This curiosity, coupled with immense love for his friends, led him to start a weekly soup night with his friend Akiva Garfield. Each week, they would pick a soup from a different country and make it in a giant pot. Friends were invited. Friends of friends were invited. Eventually, everyone was invited. A normal soup night in our apartment started at 8 p.m. and went into the early hours of the morning. Anywhere from 50 to 60 people would show up. Elon would introduce himself to every new person, but not in the way you're used to. He probably knew more information about your hometown than you did, and he'd pepper you with questions about everything. Anything that was interesting to you was genuinely interesting to him, and he'd make you feel special. When you stumbled back into soup night a few months later, he'd pick up where you left off in your conversation the last time. He preferred substance to small talk, and he always knew the right questions to ask. Questions that would make you think. He would challenge you to be better and to seek truth. He was always in search of truth. Elon was the ultimate friend. He had so many friends, and he loved each of us deeply. He'd fly all around the world to spend time with his family and friends. And you could count on him to show up with a full itinerary of all the best things to do. He loved to have fun with the people he loved. Elon, you booked a flight across the ocean to come celebrate my sister's wedding with me and my family. We were supposed to sing and dance with you. Instead, we buried you. We were supposed to scuba dive together. Instead, we eulogized you. And today, on Yom Hazikaron, you would have helped us appreciate the importance of the day. Instead, we memorialize you. We need you here with us. Your absence is felt strongly every day. A piece of us is missing. We love you and we miss you. Your memory is a blessing.
Thank you so much, Akiva. Now we'll ask you all to stand up for Shirat HaTikva, to sing Tikva with us, with the choir of SAR and Miri Ben-Ari.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming tonight.
המשקאות שלי שיכור קלות
האימה, האיבה, קולות המלחמה ושנאת החיים שבכל יום גוברת. הזקנה מביכה, הם מתים פה מבושה, בקולם הם לא חשים ואת שותקת. אורי אור, אורי אור, מולדת אהובה, כי אנחנו עייפים מאוד, זקוקים למנוחה. אורי אור, אורי אור, מולדת אהובה, פעם בחיים אנו חיים, תתני קצת אהבה. אלימות, השפלה, גזענים לעלייה, ועוד ילד שפוחד לחזור הביתה. האימה, האיבה, שירים של מלחמה, ושנאת החיים שבכל יום גוברת. אורי אור, אורי אור, מולדת אהובה, כי אנחנו עייפים מאוד, זקוקים למנוחה. אורי אור, אורי אור, מולדת אהובה, בחיים אנו חיים, תתני קצת אהבה. ותני לי את הכוח לאהוב אותך, מפינה קטנה לשמוח, איך לפעמים קשה לסלוח לך. אורי אור, אורי אור, מולדת אהובה, כי אנחנו עייפים מאוד, זקוקים למנוחה. אורי אור, אורי אור, מולדת אהובה, פעם בחיים אנו חיים, תתני קצת אהבה.
אם החיים הם חידה לא מפורשת, והסודות זורמים בהם כמו נחלים, מנסים למצוא את כל צבעי הקשת, עובדים קשה לבנות פה משהו במילים, ואתה חי בזמן זמני ספור בלוח, ומקווה לשתות את החיים הטוב, ובין כל אלה סך הכל רוצה לשמוח, ועל הדרך להגשים איזה חלום. אולי אחרי הכל תגיע לשמיים, אולי אחרי הכל תשמח מהחיים, תאמר תודה ותהפוך פתאום למים, ותצא